Glossary to Part 3. The Seven Portals. 1. Upadhyaya is a spiritual preceptor, a guru. The northern Buddhists choose these generally among the Narjol, saintly men, learned in Gotrapuknyana and Jnana Dasana Shukti, teachers of the secret wisdom. 2. Yana, vehicle. Thus, Mahayana is the great vehicle, and Hinayana, the lesser vehicle, the names for two schools of religious and philosophical learning in northern Buddhism. 3. Sravaka, a listener or student who attends to the religious instructions. From the root sru, when from theory they go into practice or performance of asceticism, they become sramanas, exercisers. From srama, action. As Hardy shows, the two appellations answer to the words listeners and practitioners of the Greeks. 4. Samtan, Tibetan, the same as the Sanskrit dhyana, or the state of meditation, of which there are 4 degrees. 5. Paramitas, the 6 transcendental virtues. For the priests, there are 10. 6. Srotapati, he who has entered the stream that leads to the Nirvanic ocean. This name indicates the first path. The name of the second is the path of Sakridagamin, he who will receive birth only once more. The third is called Anegamin, he who will be reincarnated no more, unless he so desires, in order to help mankind. The fourth path is known as that of Rahat or Arhat. This is the highest. An Arhat sees nirvana during his life. For him, it is no post-mortem state, but samadhi, during which he experiences all nirvanic bliss. 7. Arrival at the shore is with the northern Buddhists synonymous with reaching nirvana through the exercise of the 6 and the 10 paramitas, virtues. 8. The Master Soul is Alaya, the universal soul, or Atman, each man having a ray of it in him and being supposed to be able to identify himself with and to merge himself into it. 9. Antaskarana is the lower manas, the path of communication or communion between the personality and the higher manas or human soul. At death, it is destroyed as a path or medium of communication, and its remains survive in a form as the kamarupa, the shell. 10. The northern Buddhists, and all Chinamen, in fact, find in the deep roar of some of the great and sacred rivers the keynote of nature. Hence the simile. It is a well-known fact in physical science, as well as in occultism, that the aggregate sound of nature, such as heard in the roar of great rivers, the noise produced by the waving tops of trees in large forests, or that of a city heard at a distance, is a definite single tone of quite an appreciable pitch. This is shown by physicists and musicians. Thus, Professor Rice, Chinese music, shows that the Chinese recognized the fact thousands of years ago by saying that the waters of the Huanghe rushing by intoned the kung, called the great tone in Chinese music. And he shows this tone corresponding with the F, considered by modern physicists to be the actual tonic of nature. Professor B. Silman mentions it, too, in his Principles of Physics, saying that this tone is held to be the middle F of the piano, which may therefore be considered the keynote of nature. 11. The Bons or Dukpas, the sect of the Redcaps, are regarded as the most versed in sorcery. They inhabit Western and Little Tibet and Bhutan. They are all tantrikas. It is quite ridiculous to find Orientalists who have visited the borderlands of Tibet, such as Schlackentveit and others, confusing the rites and disgusting practices of these with the religious beliefs of the Eastern Lamas, the Yellow Caps, and their Narajols, or holy men. The following is an instance. 12. Dorje is the Sanskrit Vajra, a weapon or instrument in the hands of some gods, the Tibetan Drakshet, the Devas who protect men, and is regarded as having the same occult power of repelling evil influences by purifying the air as ozone in chemistry. It is also a mudra, a gesture and posture used in sitting for meditation. It is, in short, a symbol of power over evil influences, whether as a posture or a talisman. The Bons, or Dukpas, however, having appropriated the symbol, misuse it for purposes of black magic. With the Yellow Caps, or Gelugpas, it is a symbol of power, as the cross is with the Christians, while it is in no way more superstitious. With the Dukpas, it is like the double triangle reversed, the sign of sorcery. 13. Viraga is that feeling of absolute indifference to the objective universe, to pleasure and to pain. Disgust does not express its meaning, yet it is akin to it. 14. Ahankara, the I, or feeling of one's personality, the I amness. 15. One who walks in the steps of his predecessors, or those who came before him, is the true meaning of the name Tathagata. 16. Samvriti is that one of the two truths which demonstrates the elusive character or emptiness of all things. It is relative truth in this case. The Mahayana school teaches the difference between these two truths, Paramartha Satya and Samvriti Satya, Satya, truth. This is the bone of contention between the Madhyamikas and the Yogacaras, the former denying and the latter affirming that every object exists owing to a previous cause or by a concatenation. The Madhyamikas are the great nihilists and deniers, for whom everything is parigulpita, an illusion and an error in the world of thought and the subjective, as much as in the objective universe. The Yogacaras are the great spiritualists. Samvriti, therefore, as only relative truth, is the origin of all illusion. 17. Lamain are elementals and evil spirits, adverse to men and their enemies. 18. Tian Marga is the path of Tiana, literally, or the path of pure knowledge, of Paramartha, or Sanskrit Svasamvedana, the self-evident or self-analyzing reflection. 19. Vide Glossary of Part 2, Number 4. Diamond Soul, or Vajradhara, presides over the Dhyana Buddhas. 20. This is an allusion to a well-known belief in the East, as in the West too, for the matter of that every additional Buddha or saint is a new soldier in the army of those who work for the liberation or salvation of mankind. In northern Buddhist countries, where the doctrine of the Nirmanakayas, those bodhisattvas who renounce well-earned nirvana, or the Dharmagaya vesture, both of which shut them out forever from the world of men, in order to invisibly assist mankind and lead it finally to paranirvana, is taught, every new bodhisattva or initiated great adept is called the liberator of mankind. The statement made by Schlackentveit in his Buddhism in Tibet, to the effect that Prulpaiku or Nirmanakaya is the body in which the Buddhas or bodhisattvas appear upon earth to teach men, is absurdly inaccurate and explains nothing. 21. a reference to human passions and sins which are slaughtered during the trials of the novitiate and serve as well-fertilized soil in which holy germs or seeds of transcendental virtues may germinate. Pre-existing or innate virtues, talents, or gifts are regarded as having been acquired in a previous birth. Genius is without exception a talent or aptitude brought forth from another birth. 22. Titiksha is the fifth state of Raja Yoga, one of supreme indifference, submission, if necessary, to what is called pleasures and pains for all, but deriving neither pleasure nor pain from such submission. In short, the becoming physically, mentally, and morally indifferent and insensible to either pleasure or pain. 23. Sowani is one who practices Sowan, the first path in Dhyan, a Srotapati. 24. Day means here a whole manvandara, a period of incalculable duration. 25. Mount Meru, the sacred mountain of the gods. 26. In the northern Buddhist symbology, Amitabha, or boundless space, Parabrahm, is said to have in his paradise two bodhisattvas, Quan Xian and Tashishi, who ever radiate light over the three worlds where they lived, including our own. Vide 27, in order to help with this light of knowledge in the instruction of yogis, who will, in their turn, save men. Their exalted position in Amitabha's realm is due to deeds of mercy performed by the two, as such yogis, when on earth, says the allegory. 27. These three worlds are the three planes of being, the terrestrial, astral, and the spiritual. 28. The guardian wall, or the wall of protection. It is taught that the accumulated efforts of long generations of yogis, saints, and adepts, especially of the Nirmanakayas, have created, so to say, a wall of protection around mankind, which wall shields mankind invisibly from still worse evils. 29. Klesha is the love of pleasure or of worldly enjoyment, evil or good. 30. Tanha, the will to live, that which causes rebirth. 31. This compassion must not be regarded in the same light as God, the divine love of the theists. Compassion stands here as an abstract, impersonal law whose nature, being absolute harmony, is thrown into confusion by discord, suffering, and sin. 32. In the northern Buddhist phraseology, all the great arhats, adepts, and saints are called Buddhas. 33. A bodhisattva is, in the hierarchy, less than a perfect Buddha. In the exoteric parlance, these two are very much confused. Yet the innate and right popular perception, owing to that self-sacrifice, has placed a bodhisattva higher in its reverence than a Buddha. 34. This same popular reverence calls Buddhas of compassion those bodhisattvas who, having reached the rank of an arhat, i.e., having completed the fourth or seventh path, refuse to pass into the nirvanic state or don the Dharmagaya robe and cross to the other shore, as it would then become beyond their power to assist men even so little as karma permits. They prefer to remain invisibly, in spirit, so to speak, in the world, and contribute toward man's salvation by influencing them to follow the good law, i.e., lead them on the path of righteousness. It is part of the exoteric Northern Buddhism to honor all such great characters as saints, and to offer even prayers to them, as the Greeks and Catholics do to their saints and patrons. On the other hand, the esoteric teachings countenance no such thing. There is a great difference between the two teachings. The exoteric layman hardly knows the real meaning of the word nirmanakaya, hence the confusion and inadequate explanations of the Orientalists. For example, Schlackenfeit believes that nirmanakaya, body, means the physical form assumed by the Buddhas when they incarnate on earth, the least sublime of their earthly encumbrances, vide Buddhism in Tibet. And he proceeds to give an entirely false view on the subject. The real teaching is, however, this. The three Buddhic bodies or forms are styled 1. Nirmanakaya, 2. Sambhogakaya, 3. Dharmakaya. The first is that ethereal form which one would assume when leaving his physical he would appear in his astral body, having in addition all the knowledge of an adept. The bodhisattva develops it in himself as he proceeds on the path. Having reached the goal and refused its fruition, he remains on earth as an adept. And when he dies, instead of going into nirvana, he remains in that glorious body he has woven for himself, invisible to uninitiated mankind, to watch over and protect it. Sambhogakaya is the same, but with the additional luster of three perfections, one of which is entire obliteration of all earthly concerns. The Dharmakaya body is that of a complete Buddha, i.e., no body at all, but an ideal breath. Consciousness merged in the universal consciousness, or soul devoid of every attribute. Once a Dharmakaya, an adept or Buddha leaves behind every possible relation with or thought for this earth. Thus, to be enabled to help humanity, an adept who has won the right to nirvana renounces the Dharmakaya body in mystic parlance, keeps of the Sambhogakaya only the great and complete knowledge, and remains in his Nirmanakaya body. The esoteric school teaches that Gautama Buddha, with several of his arhats, is such a Nirmanakaya, higher than whom, on account of the great renunciation and sacrifice to mankind, there is none known. 35. Mialba is our earth, pertinently called hell, and the greatest of all hells by the esoteric school. The esoteric doctrine knows of no hell or place of punishment other than on a man-bearing planet or earth. Avicii is a state and not a locality. 36. Meaning that a new and additional savior of mankind is born, who will lead men to the final nirvana, i.e., after the end of the life cycle. 37. This is one of the variations of the formula that invariably follows every treatise, invocation, or instruction. Peace to all beings. Blessings on all that lives.